Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB Bikini Pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today, we are speaking with a 19-year-old professional who graduated high school along with completing 70 hours of college credits to set herself up to graduate in 2025 with her bachelor's in science with a concentration in physical and occupational therapy with the goal of joining her boyfriend's coaching team after she completes her personal training certification too. She started her competition journey with all top two and first place finishes, and after her two regional shows, she went on to earn her pro card at the NPC Nationals in 2024. Welcome to the show, Abigail Medina. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm super good. I feel super, it's so surreal because I feel like I've always been listening to your podcast,
Oh,
even since before I started competing. When I was thinking about competing, I would listen to your
wow.
podcast so that I could like get the feel of the girls and like what they felt. Because I'm a very nervous person, and I thought I was gonna be really nervous. But then listening to like the podcast and all that stuff, when I got on stage, it's like it's what some of the girls say. It's like it's really true. Like what happens of like sometimes you forget like that you're even on stage,
So true.
and like I feel like I was just a completely different person. But anyways, yeah, I've been really looking forward to like one day being here.
Yeah, you made it. And I'm so
I
happy that
know.
you're here. And thanks to your boyfriend too, who messaged me about you. I think that's so awesome. And we have so much to talk about today. But before I ask you the question, I ask everybody, I already told you I was going to warn everyone. I'm just going to warn everybody now. If you're watching this on YouTube and you see my face making weird faces, it's not intentional. I am recording this while dealing with a medical concern that's pretty much unknown, but it's causing hemifacial spasms. So, if you're listening and you hear my voice change, that's probably why too. Because it obviously will pull my lip or my cheek in a certain way, and sometimes it makes it difficult for me to enunciate the way that I normally do. So, just wanted to get that out there before we get into this. So I'm not a distraction to the incredible journey we get to learn about today of Abby. So that being said, Abby, what is something you do, think about, or maybe a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage?
I've been waiting for this question for a while. Um, and it's so funny because like every time I would go backstage, I would think about, ooh, like when if I would to get on this podcast, like, well, how would I answer? And every single time I've forgotten my headphones, so it's not like I can say I listen to music or
Yeah.
anything like that. I feel like every time, like I've just like I'm there, and then I'm like, well, you're here. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if I have a ritual, more of just like telling myself that. I literally can't like leave. Like I'm already backstage. I'm already here. So I kind of just once I'm when I'm stepping on the steps to get onto the stage
Mhm.
is like the last moment that I have to be nervous or anything. As soon as I step on the stage, as soon as my heel steps on the stage, I'm a totally different person. And I feel like I have to get into a um I just put myself into a like a different persona or a different character when I'm on stage. And
Mhm.
everyone, my family, they tell me that when I'm on there like I look like a different person because
Oh,
I look so
wow.
confident in like what I'm doing, and normally I'm very nervous. But everyone tells me like that I look so like a different person, and I feel like that's the only way that when I'm on stage I'm not nervous. Except for nationals, that was really nerve-wracking. But I just go into like a different mindset, different zone. I just pretend that I'm not me.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like you almost dissociate in some ways and become
Yeah.
like You're like, let me enter this version of me to get through what that version of me decided was a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's really awesome. And that's something else about competing that I really love is for so many people, it actually challenges a lot of fears or nerves, and it makes us
Yeah.
very resilient and build that confidence. And of course, for you, you're among the younger pros in the league. So, what did that accomplishment mean to you?
That meant like so much to me. When I started to want to compete, I was 14 years old, and I had seen this girl on my For You page on Instagram, and I think she was like 15 or something, right before they had the age, um, and I don't think it was America, but um, and I was like, if she could do it, then I think I could do it, right? But I didn't want to do it then, right? So I've been trying to look for like teens in the sport and all this stuff, and then I don't know if I'm gonna mispronounce her name, but is it Tiana or Tiana?
Tiana. Hmm.
Well, when I saw her and I was like, I think I could do it and I wanted to do it. And I don't know, her like just like she just like gave me inspiration that I could do it as a teen because a lot of people are like, oh, like it takes a lot of time and it does take a lot of time, but I've already been working for it since I was 14. So it's
Hmm.
like I just feel like I kind of had to like how do I say this? To prove, not prove people wrong, but just to prove that I'm meant to be here and that
Hmm.
this is what I want to do, especially because I've had everything happen to me so early with like I'm almost done with college already and I had to choose what I wanted to do like when I was 16 or 15, I don't know.
Hmm.
But this has always been something that I wanted to do. So I've always known this, and so now to accomplish it so early and like have that certification of like you're a pro, like I feel like it just kind of clarifies to me that I'm meant to be here and that I can make a difference here. And I just that's what that meant for me.
Wow. No, you absolutely are and can. I think it's a very incredible thing to be able to be young and disciplined and passionate about something. I know personally, now I'm 10 years into this and I started at 18 and started lifting
Mhm.
around 15 in high school. And I can say, when I talk to people now about the way that I live my life, they're like surprised that I didn't
Yeah.
party, that I don't
Yeah.
drink, that it was just business as usual, you know? But I love that for you, that you pursued that. But why at 14? Was it literally just because you saw the girl on your For You page, or were there other things that
Yeah.
led to
So,
it?
um, well, health and like exercise in general is because
Hmm.
my both parents, I have like health issues on both sides.
Hmm.
So growing up, like I see my dad struggle with his cholesterol and he's taking cholesterol medicine, and then they have like heart conditions and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want that to be me growing up. And so I had to get my blood work taken because we had to like make sure that I was okay. And I did come out with like high cholesterol. I think I was 14. And so I was like, I don't know, something in me changed towards like I want to not live a life worrying about it. So I tried to, it was also during COVID.
Hmm.
So I couldn't go to the gym. Like I didn't have like a trainer or anything like that. I was just kind of using YouTube and like
Hmm.
trying to see things that I can like move my body in ways because it was COVID and I wasn't going to school in person. So it was like not moving at all. And I don't know, I feel like I'm also the type of person who can't just sit down still. So I just got into like wanting to be healthier and set myself up for a better future for like when I'm older and whenever I had kids and stuff like that. Like I don't want them to see me dealing with health issues because when I hear my parents and they talk about it and like when I mean I still get sad, but when I was younger, I feel like I'm like, oh my God, like they're gonna die. Like
Right. It's
so
anxiety provoking.
yeah, so I feel like that kind of like spurred me into the health and fitness category, but then as I started like watching YouTube videos and everything like that, my FIP changed. And then I started getting bodybuilding and I started getting to like these muscular girls and I was like they look so beautiful. Like they look so pretty. So I would like follow them and more would come out, whatever. And then I would watch YouTube videos and then you go down a whole rabbit hole of like bad diets and everything, and then just like all the wrong stuff. And I feel
Mm,
like I finally guided myself back to like on track. But that was the whole like start of it.
that's good to know. So walk us through like the dark side of it, the part that usually triggers disordered eating in a lot of
Yeah.
women and girls, the misinformation. Like, did that look like for you?
So for me, it was more like, so I'm 14 years old and I'm thinking of like my health and everything. Usually you don't really think of like diets first. I was thinking of more like I want abs and all that
Right.
stuff. So I would watch like, oh, like 10-minute abs or 10, what is it, abs in like 6 days or something. And it
Hmm.
was so stupid because, well, to get abs, you have to eat right and all this stuff, whatever, right? But like, I didn't know that and I didn't have someone teaching
Yeah.
me this. So once you start with those videos and then you start getting other videos that are suggested that are like the similar direction, and then you get like, okay, well, this isn't working and then let me like do a diet or whatever. And then you like, if you look up diets or whatever, like the first things that come out are like intermittent fasting or keto, like
Hmm.
all these like restrictive diets that don't work the long haul and probably a 14-year-old shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Um, so I just kind of went down that rabbit hole of like, okay, this didn't work. Let me do this. And I would do like intermittent fasting. And then also I think like the inactivity that I was feeling from COVID was also like, well, if I'm not moving around, like I shouldn't be eating as much. But I was
Mm,
also like growing as a child. So it was like,
exactly.
and then also it's like what I was eating wasn't healthy anyways.
I'm sure.
So, but it would be like I wouldn't eat till like 9, and then I think I would eat something small. It was probably a salad. And then I wouldn't eat again the whole school period. When I was like in school, I got out of school at like 3. Then I would probably eat like a little like granola bar. And it was just like not obviously not good at
Yeah.
all. But it just kind of threw me into a loop of like, I guess this is how it really is. Like everyone who's not really in the sport says like, oh, like dieting's so hard and you feel like crap and this and that. And like now knowing that I can find ways to eat things that I still want and make it fit and make it work, it's obviously not like that's not true. That you can still eat what you want and get to your goals, but I didn't know that.
Right.
So all I saw was like people are eating salads and granola bars and then like smoothies or whatever, and it's like all of those things are so full of like sugar and everything.
Yeah.
But it just kind of when it started like when obviously I started losing weight because I was in a severe like deficit
Right.
and I was in middle school. I'm 4'11", so being 95 pounds in middle school wasn't like alarming or anything. That's like pretty normal. But I also started to go running because I was like I don't know, I was so like focused on like losing weight because I
Hmm.
thought that meant like I was gonna be healthier. So I would go running for a long time and then whatever. I think I went down to like 89 pounds and something switched in me that I was like, this can't be right. Like I had a physical at a for school that
Hmm.
another school year and I had to go in person and they weighed me and I remember they had like concerns and I think that kind of also just like little things would like switch in me that I'm like this doesn't feel right. This I like there has to be a better way than this.
Mm.
Like I see all these people and like they're doing it for the long haul. There's no way that they're doing it like this. Like so it kind of started with question and like
Mm.
questioning is that like is this the only way? And so once I started questioning stuff like that, I started going into like videos of like actual bodybuilding and like bodybuilders and how they eat and stuff like that. And then I learned about macros and all that stuff and I kind of started to get myself on the right track, but it was still really hard because
Yeah.
I would only correlate like more food to that means I'm gonna gain
Right.
weight. And not being in like an actual gym, like I was using just like I had like these dumbbells that interchangeable the interchangeable weight
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
and that's all I had. So I was like super like scared of like eating
Of
more because
course.
I was like, well, me eating less is like I'm losing weight, probably means I'm healthier, whatever. Like obviously that's not the case, but Um, I just being alone because I got 14, 15, and like I didn't talk to anyone about it. Like I wasn't talking to my parents about it. I didn't talk to my sisters about it. Um, and then it's COVID, so I wasn't really going out and people weren't noticing it. So no one was
Right.
really like stopping me or like catching it or whatever. Um, so just like falling into that hole of like trying to figure out everything and just through it all, like feeling like crap. I lost
Mhm.
like a lot of hair in the shower and
Really?
then losing weight. And then I was also always cold. And so like those are all signs that like by like the grace of God that I questioned it and I was like, this can't be right. And I just felt like so weak. So then questioning it, started watching those videos of like actual bodybuilding stuff, started learning more and like credible sources. Um and then there was just a point in me that switched that I was like, oh, I lost my period and that also scared
Mm.
me. I had lost my period and that scared me. So all these things that like scared me made me like, okay, I have to switch this around because this is definitely not healthy. And like, no matter weight gain or whatever that comes with it, like, I don't care. I have to be healthy again because my whole goal of this was to be healthier. So I just had to like really push myself into just thinking of that health. Doesn't matter, like the scale or whatever. So, um, we moved houses and I didn't even have a kitchen. So we didn't have a kitchen yet, so I had to eat like a bunch of the freezer meals.
Yeah,
And that drove me crazy
I
too, because I was
bet.
like, oh, like, I don't know, just thinking of food 24/7, and that drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Once we had the kitchen and everything like that, I started to cook for myself. I started eating more and I started training with more intent, even with just like the dumbbells. Like you can do a lot with just dumbbells. So like
Mhm.
I was looking up YouTube videos on like things you could do, um, that like movements that there were that you can do for like leg day, whatever, with just dumbbells and stuff like that. And then I got my nutrition. I was just prioritizing protein at first. And then that kind of got me somewhere. I gained quite a bit of muscle and then I ended up capping at like 104. I couldn't go over that
Mhm.
myself. And then, but
Mentally?
I made sure that my relationship with food and exercising was healthy before I started to look for a coach for bodybuilding.
I see.
Because I knew what was going to come with bodybuilding, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy if I was still in that mindset.
Hmm.
But I'm sorry if I ranted. I feel like I ranted so
I'm
much, but
enjoying, no, this is a good, it's giving a full picture. I like it.
but
Was
that's
the
yeah.
104 cap, was that like you capped
Mhm.
out as in like progress wise, or you were scared about that number?
Progress wise, I was trying to go over it, but because I was only prioritizing protein and I wasn't really like focusing on like I would eat carbs, but I wasn't like I don't know. It was just I feel like just with the equipment that I had and then my limited knowledge of it, I couldn't go over 104. It
Mhm.
was really hard for me. I don't gain weight so easily. So I just was getting frustrated because I was 104 for a couple months and I had already fixed my mindset into like I want to grow. So I couldn't grow and I was like, okay, I think it's time that I can get a coach to help me.
For sure. And so, how did you go about finding or researching a coach after having, because when you learn so much online, you get
Mhm.
so many mixed signals and messages. Obviously, you tried an approach that was working for you. How did you eventually establish that this is who I want to be my coach?
Yeah. So you've actually interviewed her. It's Becca Blackner. Blackner, I
Uh-huh.
think is how you pronounce her name.
Hmm.
So I had been following, she was one of the girls that I was following
Yeah.
with bodybuilding and that I saw and I thought she was so beautiful. And like all like the muscles and everything. And
Yeah.
I think I had just started following her right before she was going to compete her first show. And I had been following her for I think a year or two, and she was doing shows. And then the stories that she would post, she was already a coach, so like the stories that she would post seemed very organized, and like her aura and everything was just like I don't know what it was about it that really attracted me to her, but it kind of like I knew that she wasn't one of those coaches that were like um with the fad diets and stuff like that. Like I knew she
Right.
was not going to be like, oh, okay, we need to eat less and this and that, whatever,
Right.
through the way that she posted. And the girls that she coached, the client check-ins and stuff like that. And then like I just kept following her and seeing her progress. And then she was also being coached. Well, she's on a team. And I think that's always a good sign when your coach has a
Mhm.
coach, because they're always learning.
Right.
So that was something that really like stuck out to me. And I don't know what it was particularly about her because I was following a bunch of other bodybuilder girls. But I think that just seeing her com like from when she just competed and then she hadn't even turned pro yet at that time. And then like a couple shows in, and I was like, I like her physique and I like the way she organizes things and how she just runs her account, that it
Hmm.
just kind of like drawed me towards her. And then
Yeah.
she had posted like um that she was accepting clients and stuff like that, and I just like got on there.
Love that. So you had been a longtime follower, you appreciated her
hmm
approach, you respected her. I think that's all really good insight. You have to align with the coach or feel like a connection truly. And then given your situation, being young, having a
hmm
maybe the background or the history that you did and getting yourself out of it, obviously you learned a lot. But let's talk about you actually starting season, starting a prep because you were in school. And
Right.
how did your show prep approach evolve over that road to pro for you?
I think so. Okay, my first show I had. I'm sorry with these dogs. I don't know if
I
they'll come
cannot
out.
hear them.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So my first show I did with Becca, and it was very different from my other two shows because I had eventually I switched coaches, but I guess I'll get into that anyway. But so my first show was very like was I was very excited and I had started prep. I believe I started in January, but it didn't get serious till like I think it was like March because I
Mhm.
competed at the Republic of Texas, which is in July. Um, and it was at first it was really easy. I felt good. I was like, yeah, like I'm losing weight, blah blah, blah whatever, or the fat or water, whatever.
Mhm.
And then there was a point that it just got very difficult in terms of like I was doing like a lot of cardio. My joints were hurt.
Mhm.
I was also on Accutane at this time for my acne.
Um,
So my joints were hurting a lot. And just like that so I think that kind of made that prep a little more difficult. And then also my the way we approached it was different. Um we approached it, I feel like in a more old school bodybuilding way. I think
mhm.
I was drinking like 2 gallons of water um up before the show, which was a lot for me, like
Yeah.
as a small person, and it was kind of difficult, but I made sure that I got it down and stuff like that. Um, and then also like my sodium, I think was a lot different from my last two shows, but that prep was just difficult for me for like the cardio and my Accutane that I was on
Yeah.
was just really hurting my joints. And there was a point that I was like, I don't know if I want to do like I don't know if it's this hard. I don't know if I want to really do it. But then my boyfriend was like you're so close, you're so close, and you've always been wanting to do this. Like I've been training for it with the intention to do this for a long time. So that prep was just a different thing in itself of like with just the fact that I was on Accutane and it was just like hurting my joints.
Yeah.
Um, but then but that show day was probably one of my favorite show days just because of like the feeling of competing for the first time. That was
Yeah.
like the best thing ever. And then my second show, I ended up switching coaches only because I wanted to be a part of on like a team.
Mhm.
So with Becca, well, it was just me and her. And
Mhm.
she's a great coach. But I just wanted more of like a bodybuilding prep coach
Mhm.
and a team because I've always wanted to have a team because like backstage I mean I knew like two people because they were from my gym, but
Yeah.
I was I don't know, I just longed for that feeling.
Of
So
course.
that's when I switched coaches and our approach was much different. I was doing max like 40 minutes of cardio for my second show. And my first show I was doing I think like an hour and some. I don't remember exactly, but it was definitely more than 40 minutes. Um, but for this one, I was just doing 40 minutes. and I switched over to a macro plan instead of a meal plan, the whole prep, which was very different for me because I'm my whole like with the training with her, with training with my previous coach, I'd only been on a meal plan
Yeah.
and I didn't have a problem with it because I'm the type of person who can't really think of new things to eat all the time and I don't mind eating the same thing. So it didn't like bother me. But then when I got this and we were like gonna do a meal plan, it opened a lot for me in my mind. I don't know. It felt more freeing. I never felt like not free with the meal plans, but I guess I didn't know how freeing a macro plan would feel for me, like mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I could enjoy a lot more with like my family and friends and still be on track. But so anyways, that prep was different for that because this is the first time I'm ever doing macros. So I'm already
Totally.
feeling like high and like um mentally I felt good. And then my body wasn't hurting because I was doing way less cardio. I was about to finish my Accutane. I was still on it, but I was about to finish it. And then just the thought of my coach being Amy was also exciting.
Yeah.
That was really like nervous too. Um, but that prep was a lot smoother. But that prep was also more so just that we could get to know each other as coach and athlete.
Yeah.
So we didn't go as hard for that show.
Yeah. That makes
So I,
sense.
ex I expected to not be like super, super tired and everything. And I wasn't. That show felt like I wasn't in prep. Like
Mm.
it
Hmm.
was easy, it was breezy. And then the training style was also very different. So the training style was more like just fine-tuning things.
Yeah.
And I got first in that show in my class. And then I got second at the overall. And then the last show, so the nationals, the big one, I didn't know I was going to nationals because I had told her, I remember when we did a consult, I told her I don't want to compete in December because I'm gonna have my finals in December. And I didn't
Oh,
want to compete in
right.
December. Yeah. But I don't know if she like forgot that I said that or something because as soon as I was done with the September one, we were like already making plans for nationals. And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. I was like, let's do it. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, fine, let's do it. I knew it was gonna be hard because I'm also full like I don't work, but I'm a full-time student. And I
Hmm.
had 6 classes and I had to keep my scholarship, I had to have like 6 classes and like 3 of them were labs. So like I was
Whoa,
there
that's
for a long
intense.
time. Yeah. But so like those finals were also really scary. But
Hmm.
that prep was also one of the difficult ones because first, it was good. It was easy. It was smooth sailing. And then towards the end, my body kind of just started like fighting itself,
Uh-huh.
where I was just getting inflamed so bad. My whole body was
Huh.
getting inflamed. I couldn't train super heavy anymore towards like, I think like 4 weeks out because I would just get inflamed everywhere. So I was really trying not to get inflamed. I was nervous because I was getting inflamed and I was like, maybe I shouldn't do nationals. I was scared that she was going to, when I was sending check-in pictures, I was scared that she was going to be like, maybe we shouldn't do it. Like, because my
Yeah.
body started reacting this way. Also, with the stress of my finals, I had like projects and finals at the same time. I don't know why they did that, but they put it in the same week. And I was so I get so nervous for these types of things
Yeah.
that I'm like, it shows in my body. I was carrying so much water. I felt like crap. I was so dizzy and everything. And like I was like, damn, like I don't think this was a good idea. And I was really scared that she was gonna tell me like, let's just hold off. But she didn't. She didn't like give up, thank God.
Yeah.
She was always trying to find different ways for me to like relax my body and stuff like that. So I remember I did like a bunch of Epsom salt baths. I did the compression boots
Oh, those feel
because I
so
was
amazing.
I yeah, they do.
They are
They do.
awesome.
And I did some really hot baths. Um, and I was really focusing on not stressing, but it was so hard with my finals. And my finals finished 2 weeks before nationals.
Phew.
So 2 weeks before nationals, I started to get less water retention and I started to
Okay.
get my body was starting to like be normal again.
Hmm.
Thank God. But like I was so nervous that I wasn't gonna be like what
Yeah.
I knew I could be. And it wasn't even that I wanted to win my pro card yet.
Hmm.
Like I didn't I was totally fine if I didn't get it because I'm young and this is my third show ever. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting to. Um but I just wanted to be better than my San Antonio show. And when I was inflamed and all that, I did not look better than my San Antonio
Well,
show.
and it's like then you stress even more about am I going to be
Yeah,
able to do this show? Is my body going to respond? So it sounds like, anyways, the inflammation was mainly stress from school.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, it was definitely stress from school. And then also the going to the gym and like everyone knew that I was gonna do nationals. And so I was like, I wanted to dress in baggy clothes because I just didn't want people to see me and be like, "Oh, you don't look like you're ready for nationals." But
Uh,
it was just like a whole thing. And then towards the end, I started doing 70 minutes of cardio on the Stairmaster, and that was like I was by the last week I was like dying
I know
because
that
I was
feeling.
she thought I was doing like half and half pre and post or like, not pre and post,
Oh,
fasted and post, but I couldn't. I the thought of doing cardio after a workout, I can't fathom it. So I just did it all like fasted, which was horrible. But like I knew that I mean I had to push myself. It's literally nationals. Like I was gonna push myself. So the first prep hard for my achy joints, and just the old school style of bodybuilding prep or peak. And then the second show was smooth sailing. I was really nonchalant in that show. And then
hmm.
this prep, the big one, I was just so nervous. I've never been more nervous for anything. I don't think my body was just, and in my body, you can see it in my body. Like,
Oh, of course.
yeah.
One of the things that you said was the fasted cardio and like not splitting it. This is
Mhm.
something I can agree with you on. Sometimes if I have a high amount of cardio, if I'm not working out in the morning, like and I can go early and do the fasted cardio, I also feel like it
Mhm.
helps me with food intake when food intake's low because I'm like, well,
Oh,
there
yeah.
goes an hour and a half
Yeah. Yeah. No,
that I
I
can
think
put the
that
heels
helped me.
on and yeah.
That helped me, and school helped me. I barely had
Yes,
time to eat if I wanted to. Like,
exactly. Yeah, I went through the same thing. Like it was being in my master's degree program, doing the internship on top of prepping and all the cardio. Like I'd be up from 3 a.m. on, but it didn't matter because I was like, well, I'm not thinking about food. I got other things to think about. And then also, I think you're running on that adrenaline. Like you have this excitement for the national show. You have the
yeah.
excitement to see something better. Obviously, through that experience, you face some challenges that you didn't expect or have before, like the inflammation. So, how was the peak different though? Because you said that the first bodybuilding show you did, you had a more old school peak, but what about that peak for nationals? How did that look?
Okay, so this one, I don't know, like, we didn't even carb me up at all. I
Just
didn't have
normal.
chance to carb up because, yeah, like, this show was my lowest calories, and my body, because I was before so inflamed and everything, like, anything that I would put in my body would, you could see it.
Yeah.
And so for nationals, I didn't even really get to carb up. I didn't have to. I had like 80 grams of carbs max, and that's what I was having my whole like towards the end of the
Yeah.
cut. So I mean, it doesn't. I don't know how to like really think about it because
Right.
it's so weird to me that I didn't get to carb because my first show we carved up, and the second show I did carb up a little bit, but it still wasn't much. This show we didn't carb up at all. We didn't change my carbs at all. We just threw my carbs to the morning for the show
Mm-hmm.
because I was eating all my carbs at night.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that was just me though, because I don't know. I feel like in the morning I was just like I didn't have time for to think about anything. I had classes, whatever, so I would just eat my carbs like later. But for this show, we literally all we did was move my carbs to the morning, and that was it because I would spill over.
Mm.
So I honestly we didn't do much. And then my water was just a gallon. It was just a
Yeah.
gallon, and it was so that was easy. And then obviously for show day it was just like sips of water.
Yeah, I love to hear the different peaking protocols. I think it dispels a lot of myths, and I also think it helps people to understand it's not going to look the same for everybody.
Yeah.
And it won't even look the same for you every
Yeah.
time. And
Right, right.
that's so important to keep in mind. And then you completed your season, you had your pro card win. This is amazing. Now, I want to ask you how did you view food and your body as a competitor
Hmm.
compared to pre-competition falling into some of the disordered habits and choices?
Well, I think um that's definitely been something that was really hard my first show
Hmm.
because that's why I was like I want to do another show because I just wanted to be back into like that lean thing. But you have to get into the mindset of just like my mindset before competition and all that stuff was mainly just like lifestyle and I just like I don't know, the competition mindset is okay, you're lean, you're on stage, you've done the work, you got your award, you got your placing, but I always have to think about what's next. And obviously I want to compete for the pro stage. I want to compete 2025. Like I don't want to wait that long, but I
Interesting.
know that to get there and to, put the feedback in, I have to grow. I have to eat. And so my mindset is just like now it's just like I don't really care about the weight on the scale and I don't care about like too much about how I look. I trust my coach. I trust what she tells me. And if she tells me that I need to be eating this, then I need to be eating that. Like as a before like a lifestyle thing, it's kind
Yeah.
of like you care a lot how you look. And I know we also care a lot how we look in bodybuilding and everything, but I feel like in this growing season, I'm just like, it doesn't matter because the only look I'm judged on is gonna be when I'm on
Exactly.
stage. So like it doesn't matter what I look like right now. Like I just need to grow
Huh.
and like these delts need to grow. So like I
Girl, you're
just
telling me.
I'm like I can't risk my 2025 season just because I was scared to gain weight. Like I don't
Hmm.
know. I've switched mindsets completely and bodybuilding has helped me with that so much. Like I feel like a lot of people are like they say like that bodybuilding is just glorified like eating disorders and stuff like that.
Mm.
But I feel like bodybuilding really saved me from that.
Absolutely. I think actually more people, I think on the outside looking in, more people say it's a glorified eating disorder. But I think on the inside, the people who have actually fought an eating disorder or have experience with that, they can see it's quite the opposite. Now, for some people, it can trigger disordered eating
Right, right.
habits for sure. But I think most people would say what you said from the inside because bodybuilding does on one hand it connects food and body so closely that you almost can't help that tie from being strong.
Hmm.
On the other hand, your body is constantly changing every single day. So it almost creates like space between you and what your body is looking like because you know it's going to evolve and what you're doing is for a purpose.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about school because you you obviously made it through that. So, what inspired you to study physical and occupational
Therapy.
therapy, if I got that right?
Yeah. I'm gonna be completely honest. I started off with a degree that I wanted to. Okay, so the program that I'm in, or that I was in when I started, I was a junior in high school, and it's a program where you can literally go to a college, go to this college, and do your 2 years of high school and first 2 years of college at the same time. So you can finish high school while doing college.
That's
And
so
it's
awesome.
not an early college thing. It's a little different than an early college thing because you're not a part of like the town's like here it's called UISD, but the college has a completely different one. So you're
Okay.
literally in a college building and you go to class with the regular college students and the regular professors. Like professors don't come to your school or anything like that. Um, so I did that, and when you do that, you have to choose a degree, or you can be like what's it unspecified or something like that. But
Okay.
I didn't want to do that because I was like, I know I'm gonna waste time, blah, blah, blah. So I just chose I chose I want to do forensics. I think I did a biology degree. And I've gone from
Really?
biology degree to criminal justice to kinesiology, but it was a different concentration. And then I finally sat down with kinesiology and free physical therapy. And the reason is just because all of the kinesiology degrees were degrees that didn't interest me, and two, I felt like had no like not real future, but like I don't want to be a
Huh.
PE coach.
Yeah, you didn't
Um,
see it for yourself.
yeah, yeah. And physical therapy, I feel like. like not to say that I only chose it because that's like the only one that like happened to interest me or something like that, but I do think that when you like the chance to help people get back to doing what they usually do, whether it's like just like, you know, a lifestyle thing or like with athletes, is just very rewarding in itself.
Yeah.
And I would love to do that. I've always wanted to do something that could help people. And so at first I thought I wanted to be a surgeon. And then I noticed I couldn't handle blood like that. So I was like, no, 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 that's not okay. And so like the next thing for me was like, I think this is what I want to do
Wow.
if I had to pursue something. Because I say this to a lot of people, like I'm pursuing this. Hopefully I like, you know, keep going in. I know it's competitive, the schooling. I want to maybe hopefully get to like the doctor and then I want
Nice.
to fuel this for my hobby because bodybuilding is what I mainly like to do. And I want to be like up there. I want to be the pros that like give back, you know?
For sure.
And so kinesiology, my degree, whatever, is kind of like I'll fall back on it if I have to. If it doesn't work out, then I'll do that, you know?
Absolutely. That's so awesome. I think it's hard when you're younger to actually know
Hmm.
and foresee what you're gonna do. I I graduated high school early. I went on to start a degree program. I thought that was going to be clinical nutrition and
Hmm.
dietetics. Got that emphasis in my associate's degree, and then I was like, I don't really care what people eat. I care
Yeah.
why they're eating it. And so then I went to like psychology and then now the clinical mental health counseling is completed too. And it's just funny how things evolve. So you never know. But I think when you open that door and you invest yourself fully into it, it leads you to pathways you could have never imagined, anyways,
Yeah.
as it sounds like it has for you. And someone I think you would really appreciate. Her name is Shannon Ahern. She has a podcast called Doctor in a Bikini.
Oh,
Um,
cute.
yeah, or you should follow her. I think you guys
Uh-huh.
would connect really well. She's on the road right now for I believe it's Dancing with the Stars doing
Oh, wow.
work for them. She was a dancer. So anyway, I'd helped her launch her podcast and she's an awesome competitor as well, probably on her way to a pro card, honestly. So I think you guys would connect. I'll send you her after too.
Mhm.
If you're looking for competition heels, jewelry, and fun competitor extras, then visit shoefairyofficial.com and use code CELESTE for a discount at checkout. But anyway, obviously you're very focused. You have been
Mhm.
very focused from a young age. You want to give back or be a pro in the future who does give back. So what is your dream or your vision for your career as a professional athlete?
I really want to, um, well, actually, I just got certified for personal training yesterday.
Oh,
I
well,
finished that.
congrats.
Yeah, I forgot to say that, but I just finished that yesterday. But I
Yay.
want to start a coaching thing and I want to do it with my boyfriend because he does what we realize here in our town and you know a couple of other small towns is that there's no powerlifting at all here. Like there's nothing.
That's strange.
And yeah, so like there's no powerlifting gyms at all and all this stuff and I know it really sucks. He always complains about it, but we want to start well, he's already started his coaching and stuff like that. And he does it's not just powerlifting. He does powerlifting and like lifestyle and people who want to get better at like running or whatever and
Hmm.
um bodybuilding and stuff like that. But um so like just being in a town where there isn't a lot and there's a lot of lack of representation and because I feel like there's a lot of people here that they can do that and they want to do that, but there's
Yeah.
no one that they can look up to here. And there's especially like no gyms that they can go to even like help
Yeah.
in the best way. But as a pro, I want to utilize that coaching with him and kind of be like a bodybuilding and a powerlifting thing and you know lifestyle, but like kind of unite it.
Mm.
Um, because sometimes I feel like they're very here and there.
I
They're very
know.
like distinct. And then hopefully one day I want to open a gym and I want it to be bodybuilding and powerlifting focused. Like,
Nice.
because when we go on like trips and stuff like that, because we're about to go to a powerlifting competition right now. But
Yeah.
you go to their gym and it's just powerlifting stuff. So
Right.
whenever I go with him and I also have to train, I'm like, what do I do? Because one, I can't squat anymore because my quads can't grow. So I don't bench. Like there's nothing I can do there to help like train me there. And then whenever he goes to my competitions and I'm at a bodybuilding gym and he's like, well, these plates suck and these bars suck and I don't know what. So I feel like there's only been one like gym that we've gone to that has like both, and it was so beautiful. And I feel like I
Wow.
want to do that also, um, as a pro and as I get up there and like money that I save, like I want to just bring more to this community of lifting and exercise and like not keep it so far apart from each other.
I love that
So
goal.
that's something I really would want to do, and just helping people reach their goals in general. I feel like um but like authentically like how Amy does it, and like we're one on one, we're calling when we have to. She calls me as soon as like if I tell her like, oh, like I didn't go to the restroom this day, whatever, like she'll call me right there. And like I just want to be like that, because just the feeling of having like a pro and like be my coach and like care so much for someone who just started bodybuilding, literally has only done at that point two shows, whatever, or one show. I just feel like I really want to give back in that way.
That's really awesome. I think that's a beautiful goal. And it makes me wonder, did you ever incorporate powerlifting training in any of your journey?
Well, when I like first started, before I did like my first season or whatever with Becca, we did a lot of heavy lifting. So I
Yeah.
was doing the deadlifts and I wasn't benching, but I was doing the heavy squats and I was doing the heavy deadlifts. I was doing super heavy hip thrusts. My whole foundation was kind of built on the heavy
For sure.
lifting, and that helped me a lot. It really helped me a lot to have all the muscle mass, because the people are like, you're 19, you don't like, they wouldn't, obviously people would confuse my age because they're like, you have so much muscle maturity for your
Yeah.
age, and they didn't know. Like when I met my boyfriend, like he didn't know that I was like 19 at that time.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just like that was my foundation, just really heavy lifting.
Yeah, I think that's so key to mention because I wish that I could go back in time and tell my younger self to do just focus on that and eating and then
Yeah.
like continue it. It is really the foundation. And even my coach now, when we go into improvement seasons, it's more of like a power
hmm
building
Yeah,
program.
that's what I'm doing right now, except no squats at all anymore. But
Yeah.
everything else is heavy, and I really enjoy the improvement season training. Like I
Yeah.
do love training like this, and a lot because I've had some people also tell me like, oh, like and my boyfriend, he tried to tell me like, why don't you do powerlifting, blah blah blah, whatever. Honestly, I feel like I would have before, but
Uh-huh.
now I'm at a point where I'm like, well, I'm a pro now, so if I do powerlifting, like I risk making my core thicker. I risk a lot of things. So I was like I would, but I like bodybuilding a lot more. But I do love that style of training when I'm in my improvement season, which is like right now.
Yeah, it's interesting how when we commit to bodybuilding, we decommit to a lot of other things that
hmm
we love or have interest in. I don't think this is often like talked about, but like there's certain things you put a question mark behind, just a little bit of extra risk. Like, oh, do you want to go ice skating? Not
Yeah.
really. Do you want to go roller skating? I don't think so. It doesn't be, it's like but it's a choice you're willing to make because you love the sport and you want to protect your body from potential risks to that. But at the same
hmm
time, it can be a grieving process for some competitors,
Yeah.
especially during a prep, if they're like, well, now I can't do hiking for my cardio. But then maybe in improvement season they can, but now they don't have as much cardio to do. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
There's
no, that's another aspect for me that's like sometimes it takes a mental toll on me, is the no cardio. I'm on like zero cardio right now, except for the steps, the daily steps. But like
mm,
the in San Antonio, that show, the improvement season, the mini improvement season that I did before I went to started prep for nationals, I did she was like no cardio. And because I had to like
huh,
put on a little bit more mass to feed my body,
yeah.
because I was very depleted. But um I was going crazy. I was like, no, I need cardio. Like, I really want cardio. And I was telling my boyfriend that I wouldn't do extra cardio or anything like that. But it was a mental battle that I was like, I can't. Like,
For
I,
sure.
I want to do cardio, but I can't. Because like I was feeling very fluffy. Um, but it's all honestly, it's just all about like setting that mark and like putting your foot down and just like not falling into those temptations, just like I do with my diet. And I just set those boundaries also for like other things. Um, And so that was a hard part. And then now I'm like, at first I was like, oh, I'm never gonna complain about not having to do cardio because that 70 minutes was torture and I don't know what.
Right?
But now I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to do like at least 10 minutes, like, but I'm not, but I want to.
It'll be back before you know it.
Yeah.
Your improvement season will be done. You'll be like, shoot, that's
Yeah.
but right now you're in your improvement season. You said that your
Mhm.
feedback was that you needed to grow, specifically
Yeah.
your shoulders, it sounds like.
My feedback from the judges was just growth everywhere and
Okay.
then more depth in the glutes. But looking at my pictures and then also me and my coach when we talked afterwards, we both agreed that I need more front delt just to be bigger, especially for like the pro stage. And I agree with that too. I feel like my front delts have always been like lacking. But from the judges' feedback, it was just growth everywhere and
Okay.
then more depth in the glutes. So, but they also said that they like really loved my front pose, which I was really nervous for.
Oh, really?
Because my
Why were you
posing has
nervous?
also changed a lot. Because I was nervous with my posing for my first show. I
Yeah.
thought I was like so good and all of that, whatever. But my posing now has changed so much
Yeah.
and it looks so much better. But like I don't know, I feel like I lost confidence in my posing down the way. And then
Yeah.
just like this show, I was just like, oh, am I doing it right? Like it was a lot of I've had a lot of different people try to teach me how to pose and stuff like that, and they've told me a lot of different things. Um, like, oh, you're not supposed to feel your legs in the back pose, and you're not gonna like, I don't know, like little like things like that. And then for my this show with Amy on Nationals, I had like a couple check-ins with her in person, and they have like the FBF team, they have like these big lights and the camera, and they have the square box in their hotel room, and they have their girls like practicing it. And it was like, what were the cues? They were like my knees had to be a little bit out. I had to reach my heels to like my stretch my hamstrings with like heels to glute or whatever cue that they give me. And like I'm like, oh, this is so different from Republic. I think Republic I had like my feet straight. I didn't bend them at all. And then
Huh.
from San Antonio, they told me to bend them a little bit. Then I bended them too much. And it was just like I was like, oh, like I just hope I get the posing right for the pictures. Like that was
Good.
it.
I'm glad that you finally got it and you got good feedback on it because I know
Hmm.
how challenging that can be.
Yeah.
And also you always think you're like, I nailed it. And then you look back
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah.
who is
Yeah, no.
that?
I was like, whoa, that's not what it looked like in my head.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, you always need us like another pair of eyes on it. Um, so yeah, I want to ask you, what do you want people like to gain from your journey, or especially like maybe younger girls or women thinking about this? Like, what do you hope that your journey gives them?
I hope that it gives them just one, that you can do it no matter your age, whether you're young and you're thinking about doing it or you're older and you're still thinking about doing it. Like, I think that if you're younger than, the age that you're allowed to compete, um, use that time wisely. And if you really want it, like grind with that time. Like you have an advantage of having that time so you
Yeah.
can start winning these things early if that's what you want. Um, and then I think patience because I could have gotten on stage when I turned 18. And that's what I really wanted because I really wanted to turn pro at 18. Um, but that didn't happen because my coach was like, I don't think we're ready yet. And I was like, okay, like I trust you. So just like patience because like it was before they had changed the age, I wanted to compete when I was 17. And then they changed the age and I was like, okay, I'll wait till I'm 18. And I was
Yeah.
18 and then they were like, no. And then I was like, okay. So I was like 19 is the year that I'm going to compete. But I think just you can do it at any age, and just learning patience, and just also like tuning out your that, because there's, I feel like there's like two, I mean, you live in your own body, and there's always going to be a voice that like tells you like you can't do it, um or like the little voice like with the eating and all this stuff. And I just feel like
Mhm.
I wish people would just have like just like a discernment of like, no matter what that voice says or whatever, like that's not the truth.
Right.
And you just like you can do it. Like it's not rocket science at the end of the day. It's actually really simple. And I feel like people make it more complicated than it needs to be. Um, but those are some things that I would hope people take away from my journey. And then I think also just like enjoying the shows, like enjoying like my first show when I didn't get first, and I thought I was gonna get first because I was like, I've been for years, blah, 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 whatever. Um, and I got second, which is not bad at all. But like in my head, I
Mhm.
was like already thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna eat like the crumble cookies. But but I was like, no, like I just did a big accomplishment. I'm gonna have them, whatever. But just like enjoying the show, enjoying the people also backstage, making those friends because you're already there. Like, might as
Yeah.
well take away something from it backstage, like, and just enjoying the show, being a good sport, like, and just accepting, like, whatever happens, happens. Like, you've already pushed yourself through so much, and just all you have to do is now enjoy it and
That's
just be
right.
confident.
Abby, I was gonna ask for your best advice next, but that sounded like really good advice. I'm like, shoot, maybe I don't even, but I would regret if I don't ask you. But if it was your best advice, then just straight up tell me that because that was amazing. So yeah, what would that have been your best advice for someone who's never competed before but wants to, and your best advice for someone on their road to pro, or do you want to add to each of those?
Um, I think that's definitely some of my best advice. I think if
Yeah.
I could give any other advice, it would just be don't like do too much either. Like
Mm,
some people overthink it, and they overthink the suit, they overthink like a bunch of little things, packing stuff. And also
mhm.
too, I feel like as I've gone through like the whole like shows day, my national show day, I think I packed like the least amount of things that I've ever packed for like
Yeah.
the other shows. And just like ask questions. Ask questions and don't be afraid to sound stupid.
I love
Um,
that.
because there's a lot of questions that I'll ask my coach, and I feel like they sound stupid, and then I just kind of like say like, "Oh, sorry, prep brain," like, but she'll answer it honestly and stuff like that. But just trust your coach too, because they're the ones looking at you from the outside perspective, and you just have to really trust them. That's another advice that I would give. Um, and just, again, like I said, just enjoying it and not really worrying. I wish I didn't worry about um my placing in when I did the nationals because my
Yeah.
chest was hurting so much. My chest was hurting
Huh.
sharp pains, and
Right.
my ears were popping. Even since I was doing my own makeup, like in the morning, um, because I was so nervous that I wasn't going to place, not even like first call outs. I was really nervous for that, and I feel like it kind of ruined a little bit of my backstage
Mm,
experience. I was just like I couldn't hear much because my ears were popping, and then I was trying to talk to these girls and trying to like absorb like the energy around me, but I was just like worrying because I was looking at all these girls and I'm like, all these girls like look like me, like they're top of the top for a reason, and
mm.
I'm so nervous. And I told my parents like, don't buy. I told my parents and told my boyfriend, don't buy the final tickets just in case. Some things are expensive
Oh,
and they're not refundable.
yeah.
My dad bought it though. He was like, I don't care. I believe in your will. And so
Oh,
he bought it. But I feel like it kind of took away from that experience just a little bit because when I was on the stage, I already thought that I was in the center. When they called me for first call outs, I was I released a breath I didn't realize I was holding. And
wow.
then I got onto the stage and I was so like nervous. I wasn't shaking, because I was really in that other persona still, but I was so nervous
Hmm.
that I was already in the center and they had moved me. They moved me once, and I thought that they had moved me out of the center. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
like, oh, right, but they had actually moved me into the center. They had actually moved me into the center. And I didn't realize that until I got off stage. Greg from the Fit Body Fusion team came down and he kind of reassured us like you did so good, blah blah blah. And I was like, really? Really okay. And then when they when the first I guess the first part of the show was done and I ended up
yeah.
being split center.
Uh-huh.
Like I didn't realize that I was split center yet. I wasn't like I when I got off stage I didn't know I was split center. So I wasn't feeling anything. I was just like
Yeah.
I definitely wrecked that. I was like they moved me like I was like damn, okay, it's okay. And then my coach comes out and Amy comes out and she's like, you're splitting center and the top two get their pro card, blah, blah, blah. I was like, really? And even then I still was like, there's no way. Until I
Wow.
ran, I mean, I walked out and I went to go to the seating where everyone else was watching the show, and I saw Oscar there, and he was crying, he was tearing up. When I was like,
Oh,
oh my God, like this is real, like I'm actually first or second. Um, so after that, I enjoyed the whole rest of the show, obviously, but I feel like being so nervous like that was it did take a little bit of the experience for me, but that's something that I think I'm gonna learn and take to the pro shows. Like I'm not gonna be nervous. These girls are obviously like pros for a reason, but I mean, you're at the end of the day, they're gonna judge you accordingly. So like there's
yes.
really no need to be so anxious. I mean, I sometimes it's disappointing, but like it is what it is, and you'll have another show that you can do, you know?
It's actually nice hearing a story about somebody being so nervous before their pro card win because you hear a lot of like, I was the calmest I've ever been. I
Really? Oh no, not me.
You're like, no, I told my whole family not even to bother with it.
Yeah, no, on the way, because we drove to it was in Dallas. We drove to Dallas, which is like a 6 hour drive from where we are. I was like, I was like trying to go to sleep, and I was telling Oscar, I was like, what if we're just driving and I'm not even gonna make it to finals? Like, um, and I was kind of like laughing because I was like, I have to laugh about it now, just in case it happens, and I can be like, whatever. Like, I was already laughing about it, but I was
See,
trying to
that's
play it
so
off in my head.
I love this story for so many reasons. I mean, it captures like the raw emotional fluctuations competitors can go through. You can on one day you could be like, I'm gonna win my pro card. It's gonna be awesome. I'm working so hard. And the next day you're like, why are we even bothering
Yeah.
going? Nobody should buy a ticket to this. I'm not gonna. So I actually appreciate you sharing that because I think, um, at least for me personally, I'm a huge advocate for mindset and mind over matter,
Mhm,
but it doesn't mean we're not human. And like I'll
mhm.
experience sometimes I'm like, well, I'm gonna compete and I want to go pro. That's the goal. I'm gonna go pro. But then in the next breath, I'm like, what if I don't? And I'm like, no, you've been
Yeah.
working so hard. You can totally do it. I'm like, but there's all and so you go through that and as long
Yeah.
as you show up and execute, especially like you said on that day it's out of your hands at that point. You
Uh-huh.
have to perform, and that's all you can do.
Yeah. Like that show was the my nerve-wracking one. And it's so weird because I've had so many different experiences. Like the first show I was super confident, probably too confident. Um, and then my second show, I for not that I forgot that I was even competing because obviously I got on stage. But my second show when they had us when they were doing the comparisons,
Yeah.
I forgot that they even did comparisons because they moved me and I was like, oh yeah, like we're being judged right now. So then I moved and I was like, oh yeah, like actually like this is the competition. I was just there for fun that show. That show was really
Yeah.
just like fun. But then this show was like the most nerve-wracking. I think I hope that I'll ever be because I don't
Yeah.
want to feel like that again. But it definitely proved to myself that I make it a lot worse in my head. And I think that's with everyone. Like you see the worst version of yourself sometimes. So
Mm.
like in there, I'm just like, oh, like there's so many girls. Like the tall girls, I'm 4'11", so I'm class A, but the tall girls were huge. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, thank God I'm not like competing against them. I was, and I even said, I was like, I don't really want to get first just because I don't want to go to the overall.
Oh my
The overall was
gosh.
scary. Um, but I mean, I didn't get first. I got second, so I was like, okay, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. As long as I get the pro card, that's okay. I feel like the number two has been like following me, so I'm like, that's fine. I'll end it with a two, the way that I started. So I was like, okay, that's fine.
Love that. Well, thanks for sharing that story and all the different experiences you had mentally and physically leading up to that. I want everybody to be able to follow your journey from here and see what
Mhm,
you do. So, how can they find you, connect with you, and even now work with you?
mhm. So, my main social media platform that I'm using is my Instagram, and it's abi.medina, Medina underscore IFBB Pro. And that's my Instagram. And I haven't launched like the coaching just yet, or like I guess the collaborative coaching with him just yet, but I will soon.
Mhm.
And so that's coming up soon. And that coaching page is called Achilles Coaching, which I have to look up how to spell it because I can't see it. Hold on. Here we go.
And this episode
That
is coming out February, so it might be perfect timing.
yeah. So it's ACHILLES dot coaching. And that's kind of where I'm gonna also be collaborative with him. So it's not gonna be just um like bodybuilding or like lifestyle. It's gonna be like powerlifting and like actually getting ready for like those
Awesome.
powerlifting comps and stuff like that. But that's what I want to do. And then I guess for just like ways to support me right now are just with I'm a brand ambassador for a local company called Grey Wolf, and they're growing like pretty rapidly, and I really love their stuff
Aw.
genuinely because I always see her at the gym and I would wear her stuff all the time, and she came up to me and she's like, I want you to be an ambassador, and I was like, okay.
Aw.
And so I genuinely love their stuff, and it's Grey Wolf, GREY Wolf Fitwear, and they're also on Instagram. And then I'm also a brand ambassador for Free Spirit outlet in Austin. Um, but that one came up to me after I won my pro card, so that one was also pretty special to me.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome, especially because they're local to you as well.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. Well, I'm happy to hear all of this for you. We'll put all of this in the show notes page. You guys, that's
Hmm.
always on celestial.fit/podcast. If you're listening right away, it'll be at the top of the page. If you're listening in the future, scroll down to the category section where you will find it's alphabetized. Not only will you be able to click the links to connect with us, but you're also going to see a full summary of the episode, bulleted list of the topics we covered, and episode timestamps so you can go back and listen to your favorite parts, share it with your
Hmm.
teammates, your friends, your family. And of course, it means so much to me and also the athletes when you share online that you listened or you reach out about an episode. So don't be shy to do that. It goes a long way for the show too, and it's greatly appreciated. So, Abby, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's literally
Absolutely.
a dream.
I'm so glad that we could fulfill that. You absolutely crushed it, and I am just grateful you were patient with me too.
Thank you.
So,
I'm grateful. Oh, sorry.
oh no, you go ahead.
I was
You go.
gonna say I'm grateful that my boyfriend like had messaged you because I was too
Me
nervous to do
too.
it. So he
Oh
did
my
it without
gosh,
me
he's so
knowing.
funny. He was so sweet too. His message was so sweet. Like, I sent it to my assistant too. She's like, "Oh
Uh-huh.
my gosh, I love this."
He did it without me knowing, and then like he didn't like tell me anything till like he got the response or whatever, and I was like, oh my God, like no way. So yeah, I was really excited.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, it was honestly my pleasure. I'm gonna have you
Thank you.
stay on the line
Okay.
with me. But I hope everybody listening, I hope y'all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.